We have a lot to cover today. It's going to be quite the busy week here in the Transformer world, and we're starting Monday with quite a bit to cover and break down. So a bunch of listings have showed up in Target's retail computers. These come courtesy of JT Prime 17. And we're going to break down everything that's going on with it. We also have some items that showed up just magically at Target with no announcement whatsoever, and we're going to cover that too here today. I was going to cover this originally on Saturday, but more stuff was developing as the days progressed, and well, now we have more information, EAN codes, everything like that, so let's jump into it like we always do here on the Transformers Slag podcast. And the first thing we're going to cover is a listing of a new Starseeker. So the Starseeker subline is this rumored subline that's going to be part of Walmart. It's going to be their next capsule, much like we had with the Speedia 500 and the Tigatron collection. And now I think we finally know what that final deluxe is going to be, because before we had, and I covered this on the podcast before, we had kind of like the whole look at what that first wave is going to be. The Leader class Thundertron, the Voyager class Ferric. And we knew that the deluxes were going to be a Lockdown, a Filch, a Road Pig, and one other deluxe. And the common belief was, oh, maybe it's going to be a repaint of one of those rock guys, kind of complete that whole kind of storytelling element with Thundertron. But it looks like that deluxe is not going to be one of the rock guys like a Magnius repaint, but instead it's going to be Cannonball. Now, Cannonball is an interesting one. This was a guy that was just a repaint of the Cybertron Deluxe class Red Alert back in 2006. An Aaron Archer concept, an Eric Siebeneller design, and was pretty popular. I liked a lot of those like faction swap kind of repaints that they did during Cybertron back then. And that character, saw some legs to the point that in BotCon 2015, they revisited it again. So now they're going to be doing it for a third time. The question is, what mold are they going to use? Because a lot of these assortments that have been done through Walmart, these repaint sublines have always been repaints, maybe some partials a little bit. Dare I say they're going to use that Skids mold again? It's been used quite a few times already, but to use it again, maybe they'll do a new head sculpt and maybe a new weapon that kind of creates like a hook hand or something. I hope that's the case, but let me know what you think. Maybe I'm missing a mold here, but I really think the Skids mold's the only one that kind of works historically with how this character has looked thus far in that Red Alert kind of design. That again, that kind of like SUV kind of look. But let me know what you think. It's kind of interesting. At the end of the day, it is going to be quite a nice welcome addition, because outside of that Cybertron one, it was a BotCon exclusive and that was it. So it gives people another opportunity to own this really interesting character. Now we got, and this one's interesting, we got more information on what's happening with that Triple T G.I. Joe crossover that we covered 9 months ago. And it was like, oh, Trooper 4, we had the Trooper 3, which was the Soundwave Thundertron, and we had a Trooper 4 listing that was going to be the Triple T that comes with Sgt Slaughter. This we covered again 9 months ago. It was first, the news was broken in small pieces by the Full Force podcast. Shout out to them and their G.I. Joe crew. And it was essentially because Sgt Slaughter did a convention panel and accidentally mentioned that he was going to be doing a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. And Sgt Slaughter has been, going through this whole thing now where he has a contract signed with Hasbro, and they're going to be doing a whole bunch of product based on him. And this kind of continues that. I mean, Sgt Slaughter is, if you could go listen to that original segment that I shot, but this is a guy that has been all over the different toy brand properties because he's based off of a real person. And, he Hasbro with G.I. Joe, LJN with WWE, and then Hasbro going with WWE, WWF in the 90s, and then being part of the Valaverse, and then doing stuff with Mattel where they milked the hell out of him when they had Mattel stuff. And then in April of 2022, Hasbro signed a multi-contract deal with Sgt Slaughter to pretty much do product of his likeness. And then, later in April of 2022, they did that first G.I. Joe Classifieds. And now we have the Triple T, his vehicle from back in 1986 with G.I. Joe crossing over with Transformers with this Transformer G.I. Joe crossover line. And we speculated back then, oh, maybe it's going to be Ironhide, maybe it's going to be Kup. Well, it's going to be Sergeant Kup, and that's pretty cool because, Sgt Slaughter, Sergeant Kup, Drill Sergeant, that's pretty awesome. So that's going to be pretty cool. But the extra element that I didn't expect was they're actually going to include an extra O-ring figure, not just Sergeant Slaughter, but also Leatherneck. Now, Leatherneck, I think the only reason he's really being included is because in the original Triple T box art back in 1986, Leatherneck was on the box art itself. So maybe they're just throwing him in there. And the last time we had a Leatherneck figure, I believe, was 2014. So it's a good opportunity for them to bring back that trademark and bring back that character for the toy shelves. So pretty cool. Keep an eye out for that. Again, we've had 4 total. We had the Megatron, his tank, the Bumblebee, Striker, and the Soundwave Thunder Machine, like I mentioned before. And now we have the Triple T with Kup, Sergeant Slaughter, and Leatherneck. So pretty cool. Where are we at? So then we have also some movie masterpiece news. We have Brawl is finally getting a movie masterpiece. We got the listing here for that one too. This is just something that's just like, hey, they're just trying to finish off those 2007 Michael Bay movie characters. We just came off of the Bone Crusher movie masterpiece, so outside of like Frenzy, which I don't even know how they're going to do that, because if they want to keep it to scale, it's not going to work. I'm surprised he didn't come with Barricade initially, but outside of Frenzy, you're pretty much done, the 2007 movie cast. I mean, unless you do a protoform, that's pretty much it. So Brawl is going to be pretty much wrapping it up outside of Frenzy for 2007 movie characters with the movie. So who knows? Maybe they'll do, some more Revenge of the Fallen stuff. Maybe they'll do, I don't know. Are we too soon for a Masterpiece The Fallen? But yeah, check that out. If you're someone who has a Studio Series Brawl or are kind of invested on some of those others, you might want to ditch that because a movie masterpiece is coming and it's going to be good. We also have a listing for a Hasbro Pulsecon DTC, which stands for Direct to Consumer, Dino King. Now, we knew this one was coming. This was something that was just a matter of how are they going to distribute this. I mean, when we saw the loadout of how the Volcanicus Core class Dinobots was, where those positions of those dinos were, we knew it was just a matter of time before that Dino King was going to come. And doing it as a Hasbro Pulsecon exclusive, as a box set, I'm down for that. I mean, last year, that's where we got, well, not last year, but this year, that's how we got our Armada Powerlinks Hotshot and Jolt. That was our 2023 Pulsecon exclusive. Last year, in 2022, was the Orion Pax and the Alpha Trion 2-pack. The year before that was the Beast Wars Ravage. So in 2024, I guess, next year, our Pulsecon exclusive is going to be a Dino King box set, which is absolutely fantastic because Dino King, if you want to own the original, you're talking thousands of dollars and GPS and fragility. So this is great. It's going to be really cool. It's actually going to be bigger than the original Dino King toy back in the day, so it's even bigger than the original expensive one. Hopefully it'll have some retooling with it and maybe a new weapon, like give him his scythe weapon that he had in the show, and maybe retool like the head sculpt and maybe some of the design just to cement it home. But this is fantastic, and it'll be a great companion piece to your already Star Saber from HasLab and the Deathsaurus that we're going to be getting soon. So very cool. We don't have a price yet, but definitely is going to be worth every penny in the long run when you really think about it. Because I always say these characters that don't have many toy releases, or sometimes the only toy release is an expensive figure, this is something you really want to go in on. You really do. And that's a great case of it. We also have here a Transformers Generations Leader Class Optimus Prime and Autobot Bullseye. Now, this was something that was supposed to be a Target exclusive that the old listing had it listed at $59.99. So even though it was a leader class, it was listed at $59.99. Now keep in mind, leader classes are not supposed to be $59.99. They're $54.99. So it means that there's probably going to be something extra included with this. And the fact that it says here a leader Optimus Prime with Autobot Bullseye, and the original listing listed it as a reissue or package refresh. It might be something where we're getting a leader Optimus, Potentially maybe that old Earthrise one, maybe a brand new sculpt, we don't know. But we're getting a leader class Optimus with potentially an extra figure on the side, an Autobot Bullseye, maybe a Battle Master or something like that. Now, the Bullseye trademark, if you're kind of like, well, who's Bullseye? Well, if you want to really pull it all the way back, 1985, that's a GoBot. But that's a GoBot that turns into like a fighter jet. I don't know if they're going to put like a core class Starscream painted as Bullseye in that box set. Doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't match up with the pricing there. Then you go to 1986 in the Hasbro archive of trademarks. Bullseye is a Cops character. He was that helicopter pilot, so, whatever. And then same thing within Hasbro a couple of years after that, in 1992, there was a toy line called Battle Trolls, and there was a troll named Bullseye within Hasbro there. He was the catapult pilot. So that was it. So I'm thinking, it's got to be a Battle Master. Bullseye is such a gun transformer target master name to begin with, so it just kind of makes sense. And the Bullseye trademark's already within the Hasbro bubble because they already do that Marvel Legends stuff, and there's a Daredevil villain character named Bullseye. And so I think it just kind of all falls together. So that's what I think it is, but I mean, I could be wrong, but that's logically what it really seems like over here. And the last two that we got here, we have a Transformers Classics Heroes team, Optimus Primal, and a Classics Heroes team, Mirage. Now, these ones are clearly part of the new branding for the Rescue Bot stuff. Rescue Bots over the past couple of years has been rebranded as Classics Hero Team. We got an Optimus Primal last year based off of his Beast Wars Season 1 design. So chances are this either is a package refresh of that, a repaint of it into maybe, what other color schemes, maybe movie accurate colors, maybe Universe 1.0 colors. Maybe it's a brand new sculpt completely and he's a bat now or something. That'd be pretty cool. But, we have that. And then the Classics Hero Team Mirage, we're going Formula One again. There already is a Formula One mold within the Rescue Bots line, Heatwave turned into one. So I could just see them taking that Heatwave mold, painting it blue, maybe giving it a new head sculpt, and now we got a Classics Hero Team Mirage. So 2 new Rescue Bots for your Rescue Bots collection, your quick transforming stuff. So that's pretty hype. The last thing we're going to cover is there was apparently also a finding in Target literally today, unannounced, didn't know this was coming, a Target exclusive Transformers Super 7 Reaction Beast Wars Tigatron. It's a straight up repaint of Cheetor, as most cases it would be with Tigatrons, at least historically, into Tigatron colors. So that's out there too at MSRP of $19.99. So go to your local Target if you want some exclusive Tigatron action. And so that's out there too. So that's it more or less in terms of the Transformer news today. Tomorrow is Transformer Tuesday. We're going to be learning about our reaction stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. So be sure to tune in tomorrow here on the Transformer Slag podcast, where we're going to have all the new information on our brand new Transformer video game, as well as the toy line in relation to that with official images and information and prices and pre-orders. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for listening once again on the Transformer Slag podcast, and I'll talk to you in the near future.